One of the biggest memes in the Dragon Ball fandom right now is base Cabba from Dragon Ball Super and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta from Dragon Ball GT. That being that Cabba would absolutely embarrass Gogeta in a fight, and he wouldn't even need his Super Saiyan form to do so, essentially implying that a non-heavy hitter in Dragon Ball Super can beat what is likely the second most powerful character in all of GT. And these memes are absolutely hilarious. This is probably my favorite one so far right here. While memes are meant to be funny, usually what makes them funny is that they are based upon a shred of truth. This meme has spawned endless debates online whether or not Cabba is stronger than Gogeta, and if these power gaps between these two Dragon Ball series is truly that large. I am going to attempt to answer that question and determine the level of power of these two Saiyans. Now, there is at least some merit of truth to the Cabba versus Gogeta meme, that is, that Cabba is in fact really strong. Cabba would beat the shit out of God Goku from Battle of Gods, which means he also has the power to solo Dragon Ball Z from the Buu Saga and before. Cabba is that strong because of his display of power against Vegeta in the Universe 6 tournament. In their base forms they were comparable, and even as Super Saiyans they were still pretty comparable, with Vegeta winning instantaneously once going Super Saiyan Blue. We know that Vegeta is comparable to Goku. If we go all the way back to the Battle of Gods, Goku absorbed the Super Saiyan God power into his base in order to continue fighting Beerus. Both Goku and Vegeta got much stronger after that, and that's really the reason why Cabba is deemed this powerful, for scaling to a Vegeta who is much stronger than a God-infused base Goku. And because people think that Battle of Gods Goku beats Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, that means Cabba would too. People use this databook scan that says that Super Saiyan 4 might be as strong as Vegito, and if that is taken to be true in the way that a lot of people interpret it, because Super Saiyan God is stronger than Vegito, that makes Super Saiyan 4 inferior as well. However, it isn't that simple. For one, that's likely not even what the guide is saying, and this statement only applies to Baby Saga Super Saiyan 4 anyways, as that is when this statement came out. If you watch my Super Saiyan 4 versus God video, GT Goku gets much stronger between the Baby Saga and the end of GT, and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is a whole level higher than the non-fusion Goku. Now, most people agree that at the time of earning their transformations, GT Goku's base when he got Super Saiyan 4 was much stronger than base Dragon Ball Super Goku before he got a Super Saiyan God. They just argue that Super Saiyan God is much stronger, which is contradicted by this data book, as it discusses both Super Saiyan 4 and Super Saiyan God on the same consecutive pages, but says that Super Saiyan 4 is the strongest form. So if we look at it, base Goku in the Baby Saga is stronger than base Goku in Battle of Gods. Goku gets Super Saiyan 4 and GT, which is implied to be a superior form to God in the Choujutsu data book. That means at the very least, Super Saiyan 4 Goku in the Baby Saga is above Super Saiyan God Goku. We know that the power increases a lot. Goku absorbs God into his base, then he trains to get stronger, a lot stronger, but there's no real way to quantify how much stronger Goku got and how much power we can grant to base Cabba. So while we can say base Cabba is much stronger than Battle of Gods Goku, God Goku is also weaker than Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and we can give actual quantifications for how much stronger Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is. I'll be brief, I'm not going to be including every little power growth from GT for the sake of brevity. Super Saiyan 4 Goku's times 10 Kamehameha was tanked by Golden Ozaru Baby, but when Goku got access to a new form, full power Super Saiyan 4, he was able to effortlessly defeat Baby, signifying that full power Super Saiyan 4 is at least 10 times stronger than the regular version. Goku gets much stronger by the middle of the Shadow Dragon saga, as in one of the earlier Shadow Dragon fights, Goku needs a times 10 Kamehameha to take on one of the Shadow Dragons, and he's not entirely successful against it. But when facing Nova Shenron, it is stated that Nova is by far the strongest dragon up to that point, and despite that, Goku in his base form shows to have relative power to him. Even if we just lowball Super Saiyan 4 to a 4,000 times multiplier, taking the 10 times Ozaru multiplier on top of Super Saiyan 3's regular 400 times multiplier, using simple math, that puts a very incomplete scale of Super Saiyan 4 Shadow Dragon Saga Goku at over 400,000 times stronger than Goku in the Baby Saga, and it is directly stated in the data book that Gogeta is dozens of times stronger than Super Saiyan 4. So what sounds better? Cabba is unquantifiably much stronger than Battle of Gods Goku, who is weaker than Baby Saga Goku. Or we have Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta being millions of times stronger than Baby Saga Goku, who is stronger than Battle of Gods Goku. I think the answer here is pretty obvious. So going purely by inverse metrics of scaling, Gogeta wins. It's not even close. As I said, this was all mostly inverse scaling, but people will use exclusive feats in the Dragon Ball Super continuity to get Cabba stronger than Gogeta. But I have issues with the way they are used. This is mostly an oversight, as what happens is it gives certain scalings of feats to characters in Dragon Ball Super, and not mentioning that those same levels of power would also apply to Gogeta and GT. I've seen people saying that because Goku scales above Arale, and Arale has arguments for being out-reversal, that would make Cabba out-reversal as well, and thus easily defeat Gogeta. This is a very egregious argument for a myriad of reasons. The first reason, the statement of Goku surpassing Arale applies to End of Z Goku. End of Z Goku, which takes place after the end of Super, and Cabba was introduced at the beginning of Super. So there's no clear indication that Ultra Instinct Goku, let alone Cabba, actually scales to Arale, because we don't know if any of them actually scale to End of Z Goku yet. Whereas GT Goku canonically starts 5 years after the end of Z, meaning that even just base Goku and GT scales above Arale, let alone Gogeta. I have issues with this Arale scaling anyways, but I see this being mentioned on Twitter, but if you go by this scaling, it just makes GT far stronger than Super, and it makes Gogeta whoop Cabba. The other major argument I see for putting Cabba above Gogeta is the dimensional argument. Basically, people mention this statement that because the afterlife transcends space and time, space-time being a 4D construct, that makes the afterlife 5th dimensional, making the clash between God Goku and Beerus 5th dimensional in power, and thus Cabba as well. People use this to support the higher dimensional scaling for Dragon Ball, the Garlic Jr. creating a hyperspace, and also wanting to use that to swallow up the afterlife. Hyperspaces, by definition, are higher dimensional spaces, making them 5D according to this argument. But again, if we're using this scaling, then it only backfires for the Dragon Ball Super side, as this makes Dragon Ball GT 5th dimensional as well. This makes Dragon Ball GT also scale to Garlic Jr.'s Dead Zone, in fact, way above it. And due to GT's superior inverse scaling, as mentioned before, it gives Gogeta the power advantage, since they both can share the 5D scaling from the Dead Zone and the Afterlife, but then the inverse scaling would just stack so much higher for Gogeta against Cabba. But that's not really the primary discussion, that belongs to the multiversal debate. Super Saiyan God Goku is multiversal for nearly destroying the Universe 7 macrocosm in his clash with Beerus. Whereas people argue that Omega Shenron, the strongest character that Gogeta scales above, is only multigalactic for threatening to destroy the universe over time. If these were true, then yeah, Cabba would certainly reduce Gogeta to atoms. But I believe this point does more to highlight the leeway that Dragon Ball Super gets over Dragon Ball GT. Omega Shenron is going to destroy the macrocosm just by existing. This is not a shared feat, and it is again just by existing, not an attack. And we know it's not just the living world either, as the Kais actually want to run away before the attack destroys the Kaioshin realm as well and kills them. This tells us two things, that this is all going to happen very quickly because the Kais want to leave urgently, and it also tells us that it's more than just going to destroy the living universe, but the macrocosm of Universe 7. Not only that, but there are multiple statements that he is capable of this, and he could do it in one attack as well. That attack was just negated. But this scaling for Omega Shenron is often blindly rejected, with the scaling for God Goku being blindly accepted. Looking at the Battle of God's Feet, it's not even a solo feat, as it requires the power clash of both Goku and Beerus, which Goku of course would take a half portion of that scaling. Furthermore, it's not done instantly either, instead it's done over time through multiple clashes. But one of the most damning aspects of this is that it is not their clash directly that is destroying the universe, but the shockwaves of their clash. Normally you could say that their clash is directly multiversal, because in physics, shockwaves are weaker than what caused them, and they get weaker the further they travel. But these shockwaves are stated to only get stronger as they go on, meaning that their actual punches scale weaker than the shockwaves that would destroy the macrocosms. Don't get me wrong, Super Saiyan God Goku is certainly still scaling to the low multiversal levels of power, but it has the same issues of concreteness as GT's feats. Arguably, it's even less concrete. But to be honest, GT scaling to multiversal because of Omega would make it a close fight between Cabba and Gogeta, but that's not the real truth. Remember that GT is the official continuation of the Dragon Ball Z anime. In the Z anime, Boo's power was going to destroy the Universe 7 macrocosm, as he was stated to be able to destroy a dimensional barrier that holds up the different universes, and they would come crashing into the living world and destroy it. Looking at it this way, without a dimensional wall in place, the other universal dimensions like the afterlife and the Kaioshin realm would rush through and destroy the living universe. That means this dimensional barrier is actually strong enough to hold back multiple universes, and it grants Buhan pretty much the same scaling as Battle of Gods Goku. In ways, it's actually a better feat because this was a solo feat from a singular attack, and it wasn't going to be over a long time. And Buhan directly scales to the attack, it doesn't get stronger as it travels. Yes, Vice Shout is a scalable attack, it's not a hacks, because it is based on raw power, and just think about it like this. How is using a key attack to destroy a universe different from using a key attack to destroy a universe? Like, people argue that just because it's destroying space, it's hacks, but that's what you do by destroying a universe anyways. Super Vegito scales above Enraged Buhan, and if you've seen these two videos, you know that Super Vegito gets power clipped by base GT Goku at the very least. If both GT and Super have multiversal scaling, then what it comes down to is when the multiversal scaling begins. And GT, it is at least in the Buu saga with Buhan, and Super, it can be argued to be either the Battle of Gods feat or Buhan as well, if you want to argue Toei's Z filler is canon to Super. And GT just has far greater power progression by the time it gets to Gogeta than when it gets to Cabba in Dragon Ball Super. Because if you think about it, if Dragon Ball Super Goku becomes multiversal in the Buu saga, and the same for GT, Dragon Ball Super Goku doesn't get that much stronger by the time before he gets the Super Saiyan God form, whereas GT Goku gets much stronger. Now, speed can be debated about, but since speed is so tied to your power in Dragon Ball, because as you get stronger, you get faster as well, it's very likely that because Gogeta is far stronger than Cabba, he'd be far faster as well. And it wouldn't just be a massive speed and power advantage for Gogeta. Cabba is not that skilled of a fighter in comparison. Gogeta is a fusion of Goku and Vegeta that have many more years of experience than Goku and Vegeta do in Dragon Ball Super, and that knowledge for them is then combined. But also, it isn't just knowledge of martial arts prowess, it's also techniques and abilities as well. While Gogeta does have a time limit thanks to the fusion, I don't have many doubts that he would defeat Cabba well before the timer runs out. Now, keep in mind, I'm only scaling Cabba up to the Universe 6 tournament because that's where I mostly see people making the argument, because they say base Cabba, as in before Cabba goes Super Saiyan. Both he and Dragon Ball Super gets far stronger after this. I'm not saying here that Dragon Ball GT is stronger than Dragon Ball Super. That is actually a project that I'll eventually work on, hopefully soon, when I rewatch all of Dragon Ball Super and do an in-depth scale of Dragon Ball Super Goku, and compare it to my in-depth scale of Dragon Ball GT Goku, to see who reigns supreme. As of right now, I genuinely do not know who wins that one, but I do believe Gogeta mops the floor with Cabba. But anyways guys, what do you think? Which is stronger, GT or Super? And does base Cabba really embarrass Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta? As I said, I just don't see it that way. But let me know your thoughts. If you guys did enjoy the video, leave a like, comment, subscribe. You can also join my Discord or follow me on Twitter. And if you want to become a member to get access to more videos every single week, then just click the join button down below. With that being said, hope you guys all have an amazing day. Peace out.